The following podcast contains movie spoilers and mature content, including graphic descriptions of violence. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to Opening Kill, the podcast that dives deep into the chilling world of horror films. Every Thursday, we explore a different movie, from cult classics to modern masterpieces, uncovering behind-the-scenes secrets, analyzing themes, and sharing fun facts about your favorite horror films. Join us as we chat with filmmakers and fellow horror film fans to celebrate the fear in cinema. And now, the hosts of Opening Kill, Michael Doran and Brian O'Connor.
Hello, Michael Duran.
Hi, Brian. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am okay. I have a zit on the rim of my nose, so I'm struggling with that. But other than that, I'm okay.
Well, that's good to know. I'm glad you were able to feel comfortable enough to share.
Well, I was contemplating just calling out today because it was so bad, but I decided to stick through it. And
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah, I decided I should show up to the podcast I helped create.
Yeah. Well, today's episode, we are going to go back in time to 2012 and talk about The Woman in Black, one of the creepiest films out there, and one of my favorite films, too.
It's good. I mean, I'm not normally like a big gothic horror fan, but this one fucking rips, so I'm excited about it.
We'll also bring you the scare preview at the end of the show. We'll talk about a couple of films that Michael and I are very excited about that are coming out later this year. And Courtney from the Jaunty Haunts podcast will be joining us to talk about Woman in Black with us too. So excited. We've been wanting to have Courtney on the show for a long time. She's got a great podcast. If you have not checked that out, it's Jaunty Haunts. She drops new episodes on Mondays. So we definitely encourage you to go listen to her. And she's got some great stuff and a fascinating story. And we're going to talk to her about that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a fun one. If you're into anything like paranormal, that's the podcast for you for sure.
Definitely. So we'll talk to her in just a few minutes. I want to thank all of our new listeners who have been tuning in to Opening Kill. We certainly appreciate that. We could not do this without you. So I saw a movie that I should have seen a couple of years ago. I just watched it this week, and it is The Menu.
How dare you put that off so long?
I know.
How dare you?
Oh my God. What a great movie.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I just, it was fantastic. And if you've not seen it, definitely check it out. Did you see it in theaters or did you see it after the fact?
I didn't see it in theaters. I saw it as soon as it hit digital, but I wanted to do theaters. It just, for whatever reason, I didn't get to it. But oh my God, so much fun.
Not what I was expecting, because you're kind of expecting like a cannibalistic type thing. That's kind of what they lead you to believe.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Brian. It's like I've never been more surprised to not see cannibalism in a movie than with this one.
Ralph Fiennes was in that. Anya Joy-Taylor is in it. And Chris Holt, just very entertaining.
Well, isn't like John Leguizamo in it too?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely ridiculous role for him, but so fun.
What did you see? You've been doing some short films here lately.
Yeah, I was in a weird mood. I was looking for something to watch, and I didn't feel like I could make it through a full-length movie. So I watched this movie called Milk and Cereal, but cereal spelled like a serial killer. And it's made by this guy, Curry Barker, and he is a comedy skit YouTuber. And him and his buddy, they made this film for a total of $800. It's 62 minutes long, and it's about like, you know, those god awful like prank YouTube channels, where they just do the dumbest shit and like you hate everything about them. Well, that's them. That is what they are in this movie, and they have a birthday prank, and shit just goes off the rails very quickly. But it's found footage as well, and I think they handle the found footage aspect so well. And the acting for like YouTubers is really good too. I don't know, man. I was very surprised and just impressed with what they were able to do for $800. Like, get out of here. So yeah, Milk and Cereal, definitely, if you have 60 minutes, just check that one out. It's free on YouTube, so
there you go.
Yeah, you can't get better than that.
So we haven't talked about this yet. A few weeks ago, we were talking about the Golden Globe Awards.
Yeah.
And how Demi Moore was nominated and ended up winning for The Substance. And how horror films generally get neglected at award shows, especially the big ones like the Golden Globes and the Oscars. Well, the Oscar nominations did come out a couple of weeks ago, and we want to talk about the fact that Demi Moore has been nominated for Best Actress for The Substance. Jaron Blasky, Best Cinematography for Nosferatu. In fact, Nosferatu got a few, including Best Costume Design for that, and Linda Muir was their designer. Coralie Fargy, Best Director for The Substance. She also got an Oscar nomination for Best Original Screenplay. David White, Tracy Loder, and Suzanne Stokes-Mutton, Best Makeup and Hairstyling for Nosferatu.
Nice.
Substance got nominated for Best Picture. Craig Lathrop and Beatrice Brenternova for Nosferatu, Best Production Design. And Alien Romulus got a nod for Best Visual Effects.
Hell yeah. No, that's so rad.
Yeah.
I am a little bit upset that Lily Rose Depp didn't get a nomination.
Sure.
I don't know why I thought that performance was deserving. But you know what? You got to just take a win when you get one.
Yeah.
And the amount of horror nominated this year, it's got to be the most ever, right?
I think so.
Like, it's got to be.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's really cool to see that. And these were good movies.
Yeah.
These were genuinely good movies. Nosferatu exceeded my expectations. I knew it was going to be good, but I thought it was even better.
Yeah.
The Substance was just wild. If you have not seen The Substance, you've got to check it out. Demi Moore, she just puts on such an amazing performance in that.
And it's so like her performance is so like down to earth and grounded and just like heartbreaking. And then a lot of the movie is so out there that it's just the styles coming together that they should clash, but they don't.
Right.
It's just fascinating to watch.
It is. I should mention too, even though it's not horror, Dune Part 2 got some nominations as well. So
did the popcorn bucket get nominated? Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
Yeah, what a great popcorn bucket that
gosh.
was. Good grief.
Yeah. Now, I'm a huge sci-fi person too, so I was glad to see Dune got recognized, which, I didn't think that it wouldn't, but it's good to see that it actually happened.
I mean, I figured it would at least get like visual effects or something like that.
Yeah.
Did it?
It got, that's what it was for, visual effects, I think.
Oh, and it's not horror, but there's witches in it. Wicked,
yeah.
We got Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande both nominated for Oscars, which is kind of crazy.
It might have gotten it for Best Picture, too. I think it did get Best Picture nominated. I'm going to double check this and just see.
Yeah, but you better
Dune Part
fact
2.
check yourself right now.
I am Best Picture, Dune
All right.
Part 2, along with Wicked.
Holla, yes,
Jesus.
That's what's up. God, I love that movie.
Look, I come from theater. I get it. I have not seen Wicked yet, so I will check it out.
I never did theater, but like it was always, if I wasn't so scared of crowds,
Right.
I would have been a theater kid, no question.
Oh, it was amazing growing up in the theater, and I still do theater today.
Yeah.
In different capacities. So, and our guest, Courtney from Jaunty Haunts, has a huge theater acting background as well. So we'll talk to her about that here in just a bit. But back on topic.
Oh, yeah.
That was my news, the Oscars. What do you have?
Well, my news is pretty spectacular, I think. So we've got some more Scream 7 casting news, Brian. Are you surprised it's Scream 7?
I am not surprised by anything you do anymore.
Amen.
Yeah.
So we got two news bits back to back. So Roman Bridger, who was the solo Ghostface killer in Scream 3,
right?
And it was ended up being Sidney's long lost brother.
Yeah.
He's coming back. How? I don't know, because he was shot in the fucking head.
Right.
And then the biggest one, though, is something that I've been wanting to hear forever. It's that Matthew Lillard, Stu, is coming back. Now, in what capacity? I'm not sure. I hope it's really him and not like a flashback sequence or something like that. I hope it's maybe him pulling the strings the entire time. But I don't know. It's the fact that Roman got confirmed like the same day makes me feel like it's not going to be what I really want, which is him in the present, but we'll see.
Well, there's always been that storyline where, fans have not truly believed that Stu died.
Well, Matthew Lillard's been saying it himself, too, for years. He's like, I don't think he's dead. I'll come back whenever.
Yeah, and here he is.
And here he is.
And that comes out next year.
February 2026.
Okay. Scream 7.
I can't wait.
So we are thrilled to welcome our guest to Opening Kill. She is the creator, the producer, and the host of the Jaunty Haunts podcast, which I am a huge fan of. If you like paranormal, you have to check this out. She has such a great story. And, you know, interestingly enough, we started our podcast the same week she started hers. She dropped on a Monday. We came out on Halloween, and we've been going ever since. So I want to welcome Courtney from Jaunty Haunts. Hello.
Hey, how are you guys? I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We are thrilled to have you here on Opening Kill. And thanks for having me on, not just once, but twice. I mean, that's pretty brave.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you tell some amazing true paranormal experiences, and we get to talk all cryptids. It was so much fun chatting with you.
Oh, we had a great time doing that. So, Courtney, I want to talk about for a minute before we get into The Woman in Black. We want to talk about Jaunty Haunts and in your background. Obviously, you came from theater like me, so we have that in common. And we have a mutual friend who also came from theater who introduced us. But tell us a little bit about your story and how you came to create the Jaunty Haunts podcast.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. It's so funny, even though I've been doing it for like 4 months, it's still so, something I'm getting comfortable with, like coming out about. But like, yeah, I've seen ghosts since I was a little kid, for as long as I can remember. And, I think for anyone who has sort of any sort of sensitivities or any sort of special, I don't like the word talents, but, connections with the other side, we'll say it's either something you're like really out and proud about, or it's something you like only your closest friends and families know. And so I was like, all right, I've been very guarded about this for a long time. But when someone can crack me open and get some stories, they always seem to really enjoy my stories and to hear about my experiences. So I thought, let's just start, telling the world. And it's been really, really fun. And I'm so grateful to how open and gracious everyone has been, and to hear everyone else's personal stories and experiences. It's been such a fun time.
So when you were younger and you were seeing these things, what did you think?
I honestly thought that they were just people, and I think one of the most common examples through therapy that's taken me back to the first moment I knew it wasn't a ghost. It wasn't a person, right? I was at the grocery store with my mom. I was about 5, and there was just a man in one of the aisles who was looking at me kind of funny, and I kind of made eye contact with him, and my mom was like, "Come on, let's go." And I said, that man is looking at me funny. And she said, "What man?" I said, "The man right there, like staring at me right there." And she's like, "There's no man, honey, let's go." And right then was kind of the first like really big hint of like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I'm the only one seeing that. Something's going on.
So, like, was your mom like concerned about that at all? Like, did it creep her out or anything?
It didn't creep her out at that moment in the grocery store. What really creeped her out was when I was home and I would tell her that I can't sleep with the TV off. And she would be like, "No, you need to turn off the TV to go to bed." And I would say, "If I turn off the TV, they come for me."
Oh, Jesus. Yeah,
she'd be like, okay, you can keep watching Full House then if you don't want them to come for you. And
Oh
I
my
just actually
God.
found out about that. Yeah, I found out about that this year. I didn't know that was something I would tell her. I just was like, I remember I always slept with the TV on. She said, yeah, well, if you didn't, you said they would come for you. So it's like, oh gosh. So yeah, it's our joke now. She's like my creepy little kid.
Yeah, I have a couple kids, and like that's one of my fears, because I've watched horror movies entirely too much. So I'm like, I swear to God, if one of my kids starts telling me there's a man in his closet, I'm gonna lose my goddamn mind.
Oh my God. I know. That's when you call your good friend Courtney and we get
Right.
the ghosts out of your house.
There we go.
So you do readings too. I just saw your little promo on Instagram, or maybe it was Facebook, where you got new cards.
Yeah, I've had a couple decks for multiple years, and then the newest deck I got was really fun. Was actually around Halloween up in Sleepy Hollow. I got a Sleepy Hollow deck, so it's very fun.
nice.
Dude,
You
I
know?
saw that, and you don't know how much I want to talk to you after the show about that, because that's pretty fucking cool.
Sleepy Hollow is, I love, it's like the story, it's great too, but just the imagery of like the Headless Horseman, I've always just been so drawn to.
Yep.
Oh my God, you guys, it is honestly my favorite thing about living here, especially like once it cools down. I literally go like every weekend from August.
Oh my
I was
God.
gonna ask you-
You're right next to it.
Yeah, you're right there. Is it now? Is it Sleepy Hollow or is it Tarrytown?
So it's basically it's kind of the same thing. Picture like Ashland and Talent. It's just two very small towns kind of right within each other. Like Tarrytown would be Ashland, and then, you know, the little town would be any of those break off towns like around Oregon, just like that.
Okay.
Sleepy Hollow.
Okay,
Well,
I have to like just mention something real quick. So, have you ever heard of the book The Horseman? It's like pretty recent.
I don't know if I have. Okay, no, I haven't. Yeah.
Okay, so it's a sequel that's like 30 years after the events of Sleepy Hollow. It's incredibly good. I'm gonna pull up the author real quick. It's Christina Henry, and if you like Sleepy Hollow, like this book is so much fun.
Oh, great. I'm going to write that down because I would totally be obsessed with reading that while I go there this Halloween season.
Oh my God, I'm
jealous.
so jealous. You don't even know. I mean, when the Johnny Depp and Christina Ricci movie, when they started running the trailers for that before it came out, I was like, oh my God, this is, and it is still one of my favorite movies. It's not on our schedule for this season, but we may get into that.
Throw that in there.
We may throw that in there as we get close to Halloween in season 2. But no, that's amazing.
That's cool.
So I have another friend from Oregon who moved out to New York, not too far from where you are, actually. And she knows, obviously, how much I am into horror. And she would tell me, and she still does tell me, how close to Sleepy Hollow she is. And I'm just like, oh my God, I have got to get out there. Road trip, Michael.
I know.
Opening Kill needs to take a road trip.
Yeah, you guys have to come. And then you do, that and Mothman Festival. It's the perfect little road trip, East Coast road trip.
Okay, so I want to bring this up. I'm glad you mentioned that because you and I and your friend Sierra, who guests sometimes on your podcast, when I was on, we were talking about cryptids and Mothman came up. I am seriously looking, and I am probably 99% sure I am going to the Mothman Festival in Point Pleasant, West Virginia in September. Are you guys going to meet me there?
Oh my gosh. Okay, I have to look at my calendar because my best friend just got engaged.
No, you have to commit right now.
And
I need an answer right now, Courtney.
I feel like I'm on The Bachelor or something. Yes. Okay. Yes. For now, it's yes.
Love that.
Oh, I love Mothman. I have my kid. I have like all these different like cryptid books. One of them is Mothman Baby.
Oh, cool.
And it's the cutest little book. He loves it too. He's just like,
start him young.
I am. That's my goal, is to start him into horror.
Oh, that's amazing. So, real quick, how did you then get into Jaunty Haunts? What was it that, because you said you were a little gun shy, I guess, about coming out and telling people about the fact you can see ghosts. So was there something that happened that just you decided, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to go out and I'm just going to tell my story.
Yeah, honestly, I think during the pandemic, I became so obsessed with listening to podcasts. I think a lot of us did, but specifically paranormal podcasts and, shows about people who experience things or people who just like to talk about it, but don't have any sort of mediumship ability or anything like that. And there were so many times I found myself going like, oh my gosh, that's not what that meant. It meant this. Like I was almost intuiting certain things when I was listening to people tell their stories on these podcasts who were looking for guidance or help or whatever. And I'd be like, wait, no, your mom was trying to come through. I wished almost I could like find that person and talk to them, or, I'd have a different point of view. Or I just thought like, these stories are so fun, but God, I know I have at least like 100. Like I would love to share these as well. And so that's kind of where the the push started, and then I feel like I got very serious about it in 2021. And then it took, 3 years of therapy, courage, and sort of wrapping my mind around how I wanted to do this, to really maintain, authenticity of being who I am in this world where there are a lot of like sort of characters and stereotypes of people who can see things. I wanted to really make sure I could do this and be myself. So I guess that's, if that makes sense.
It does. And you do such a great job with this podcast. I know you're kind of a one-man band. You produce it, you edit it, you do all of the things on it, and it's really, really good. And so kudos to you for being able to do that and then get it out there and and see what happens. And we're doing the same thing with this one too. We came into this having never done a podcast before, but Michael and I have known each other for many years, and we love horror films. And it was kind of the thing, we just wanted to get out there and just have fun and talk about it. And what you're doing is just fun to listen to. And I think a lot of people can relate to what you talk about. I certainly did. I mean, when I came on and I told you the stories that I did, it was like, I haven't done that with people very often, but I felt very comfortable coming on your show and talking about the things that I have seen. And, some people would look at that and go, wow, I don't know. But, so it was great to have a platform to be able to tell my story. So thank you for having me on and letting me do that.
Well, yeah, and thank you so much for, everything that you just said. And it's like I say at the end of every episode and the beginning as well, the whole point of this podcast is to feel a little less crazy together. Like let's all feel a little less crazy, because there are so many things we just can't explain. And so I'm so thankful to people like you who are willing to open up and talk about things that have happened so we can not be alone, know?
Right. Yeah, that's very important. Yeah. Very important. And I know that Michael's wife has some experiences too, and I think eventually you may have her on your show as well.
Yeah, I like it.
Yes.
I just want to say, I think just how you tell your stories is just very engaging, and it feels like you're just like having a conversation. It's very conversational, and I think you're just really accessible, and so I think you're just doing a really incredible job.
Thank you so much, you guys. That's really kind of you. I'm such a fan of your show as well.
Thank you.
Been I feel so grateful to have found this connection. And, if anything, I know I kind of skipped past it, but that's where I think the theater and growing up in theater has helped, because as actors, we're just learning like how to be humans in front of people. And so I feel like that's been helpful with the podcast now of like, all right, let's just like chill out and be myself, So anyway.
And before we get into the film here, one more thing. I just want to say I adore your grandmother. The episode she was on and the story she was telling, oh my God, that was so amazing.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, she's quite a character. But yeah, thanks for saying that.
All right, so let's get into this. Courtney's going to join us on this journey into The Woman in Black. When we talked a few months ago, this was one of the movies you had brought up to me, and I was thrilled to find out that you were a horror film fan as well. And this is certainly one of my favorites. So, Woman in Black, Just the Facts, directed by James Watkins, based on a 1983 Gothic horror novel by Susan Hill. The film was released February 3rd, 2012. And basically shot all over England between September 27th of 2010 and December 4th. And it stars Daniel Radcliffe in his first major post-Harry Potter film role. He had done a few things on TV and during Harry Potter, but this was really the first major thing that he did after the Harry Potter franchise came to a close back then. And The Woman in Black, if you're not familiar with it, it's a supernatural horror film set in 1889 in England. Follows Arthur Kipps, played by Daniel Radcliffe. He's a lawyer. He goes to a remote village to settle the estate of a recently deceased woman, and he uncovers all kinds of eerie secrets about the woman's vengeful spirit who haunts the nearby mansion. And it just goes kind of deeper and deeper, and he's trying now to find a way to stop her from claiming more lives. The film is very, very atmospheric. I will say that
Oh,
the
yeah.
cinematography, everything about this film is, it's very atmospheric. So, so let's get into this. It is The Woman in Black.
So yeah, we open with these three little girls having a little tea party with their little creepy dolls. And I hate dolls, Brian.
I know you do. I know you do. How do you feel about dolls, Courtney?
Honestly, as a child, I loved them, and I had so many creepy little porcelain dolls like this. And now, as an adult, I don't know why or how I dealt with that, because they scare me so bad now.
You know, the first short film that I wrote, directed, and produced, it was set. We filmed it in the actor's house, and there were these three girls. They shared a loft upstairs, and on a shelf in their bedroom, they had all of these porcelain dolls, and that was my money shot. And it was just like panning across all of these creepy dolls. There's something about that in a horror film that really does it.
My wife had a shit ton of porcelain dolls as a kid, and she still has them to this day, but they're in a Tupperware or like a rubber tote in the storage shed where they belong. but yeah,
God,
I just hate them. But the girls are having their little tea party, and all of a sudden they just look away into like the corner, and they just like stand up in sequence and then just walk to this window, which, you know, conveniently enough has three
windows,
slots.
one for each girl.
And then they do this fun little thing, Brian. They jump to their deaths.
So here we go.
Opening kill.
And there is no time wasted here. I mean, this is within the first minute of the film that this happens. You know, after the credits start rolling, it's like...
Uno, dos, tres. We got three of them.
God damn. Well, and the thing is, you know, we pick a favorite kill in these movies, and it's really tough because all of the victims in this movie are pretty much kids.
Yeah, the director like, just really said, fuck them kids. Like, that's what he said. It's crazy. And this one, like, I feel like as far as an opening kill goes, this one sets the mood perfectly.
Yeah.
It's so eerie. It's just, it's great. I think as far as an opening kill goes, this one's top tier.
Yeah, I think it is too. It is very creepy. And you do get to see the woman in black. It's the camera is kind of behind her a little bit. So you see the veil, and you see her from behind, so it's not like she's very prominent.
No,
but you do see her, and then it kind of dives into, you know, how the movie's going to go.
Exactly.
So,
Can I just say I was so mad at how all of them also broke their dolls as they went to jump out the window.
They stepped on them.
Like they all stepped on their porcelain dolls. And I know it was for like an effect to be like, oh my gosh, they're breaking. But I'm like, I feel like we could have broken one doll. Like we really all needed to break a porcelain doll.
Well, the one girl broke her teacup.
Yes.
So rude.
Yeah.
They just didn't care at that point.
No.
They're under the influence of the woman in black, but you know, the fact that they all jumped, and then you hear the mother wailing in the background, my babies, my babies.
It's dark.
It's very dark opening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are kills. We're going to group these 1, 2, and 3. So we're now up to 3 kills within 60 seconds of the film, basically.
We're up to 3 children's deaths under a minute. Let's fucking go.
So Courtney picked this film to do, so we blame her for this.
Yeah, geez, what do you have against children?
It's literally my first note. The first note I took, just child suicide. Oh my God. Like, why did I pick this?
God dang.
I mean, yeah, it's part of it's kind of a theme we've got going in this movie.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. So now we jump forward and we see lawyer Arthur Kipps. That is Daniel Radcliffe's character. And his son Joseph is born.
Yeah.
Good news. Yay.
Yay. Welcome to the world,
Yay.
Joseph.
Yeah. And then we realize that his wife, Stella, has died during childbirth. So no.
That's a roller coaster of emotions. Like
it really is.
The yay, and then not really.
Well, and then you see his face. I mean, when
sad.
he's so excited to have, you know, the son, and then they apologize to him. I'm so sorry. And then you see, you know, the body of the wife and some blood on the sheet. And we're going to count that as a kill. It's a death.
I mean, it's a death. So
kill number 4 is Mrs. Kipps, who dies in childbirth.
Yeah, maybe if there was modern doctors, she would have made it. But
Well, you know, we don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, yeah, this movie's crazy. It's for PG-13. It goes hard in the paint.
Now, what was the thing? You and I saw that. It says PG-13 for what reason?
Yeah, like scary images, like violence, and then flashing lights was one of them.
So this thing is filled with children's deaths, and that's why that's not really mentioned in the reason why they got a PG-13. And it's pretty disturbing. Some of these
honestly,
deaths are a little bit disturbing. And we'll tell you about some of these coming up here soon. But anyway, so Arthur is a lawyer, and he is instructed by his boss to visit Crithen Gifford to retrieve any documents left by Alice Drablow, who is the deceased owner of Eel Marsh, this house out in the middle of nowhere. And
it's
again,
cool.
Very creepy how he gets there. You have to go there, you know.
Well, it's only like accessible like a couple hours out of the day
because the high tide.
The road is literally like it's surrounded by water. Like the image of it is sick, but like how inconvenient would that be to live there?
Oh, I know.
You're like, oh, I need to go get some groceries. Oh, wait, I have to wait 5 hours.
You know, there's a lighthouse, and I love lighthouses, and there's some really creepy ones too. But there's one in Crescent City, California, and you can only get out there when the tide is low because you have to walk out. If the tide's high, you can't get out there, and they shut down. So it's kind of what this is. I mean, you can't go out there if the the water's too high. So,
right.
Yeah.
Well, it just helps make the whole place a little bit more claustrophobic too, because it's not like you can just escape from it.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's a cool little storytelling device as well.
Absolutely.
I was so frequently thinking about Brian's fear of water and the ocean. Like every time the tide would come up, I was like, Brian must be hating this right now, honestly.
So I told this story on your podcast. I am a Pisces, born, my birth date, February 26th. So I'm a water sign. I was born and basically raised in the Baptist church, and I have this huge fear of water. And, so yeah, it's just one of those things.
That's not very Pisces of you,
it's
Brian.
I mean, I am kind of sensitive, so I fit the Pisces mold, but as far as the water goes, forget about it. Yeah. Well, thank you for thinking of me, Courtney, during this scene.
Of course. Of course.
So Arthur gets to this village, and he finds everybody there pretty cold.
Yeah.
And not very welcoming, including the local solicitor, guy by the name of Jerome. He's very unwelcoming, but he does find a friend in a landowner the guy by the name of Samuel Daly.
Yeah. Did you know he's the guy who plays the Night Watch leader in Game of Thrones? I think that's
oh my
him.
God.
That's what it was.
Yeah,
I know. I know he's in Game of Thrones. I'm like, that's as soon as I saw him, I was like, oh, it's that guy.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of it. Yeah.
He looks very familiar.
Yeah.
Yep, that's it. That's what it is. So eventually Arthur goes to Eel Marsh House, and it's a haunted house. I love haunted house, good haunted house stories. And this house is definitely haunted. There's all kinds of noises. There's a nursery that's locked up he can't get into, and all kinds of things going on in this house when he gets there.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't stick around.
No, I would not.
As soon as I saw a dark corner, I'd be like, yeah, I'm out. I don't need my job that bad.
Not at all. So eventually he's at this house, and he hears basically the sounds on the marshes, because there's the marshes are right there, of a carriage and a screaming child, but he doesn't see anybody. He's looking out the windows, doesn't see anybody. And later the village constable dismisses his concerns, thinks, whatever,
Yeah.
It's not relevant.
You're just a silly goose. We're not going to listen to what you have to say.
Yeah. So while he's at the police station, two children come walking in with their sister. Her name is Victoria, and she has ingested some lye, which you never want to do, Michael. If you know about lye, you don't want to drink it.
I know it's bad. This movie told me it.
It is. And so the brothers are like telling them, help her. She's, and the next thing you see, she like coughs up blood, and it's like pretty right there. It's like, yeah. And she ends up dying in Arthur's arms. And the townspeople who don't like him anyway, for whatever reason, now blame him for that death.
Obviously. He shoved lye down her throat. Like, jeez. That's the superstitious towns, though. It's like such a cliche, but it's in a good way. But
very much superstitious. Yeah. These people that live here. Yeah.
I mean, I guess they have a right to be.
Sure.
There might be a ghost ruining their lives, but I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So yeah, he learns that his buddy Sam had some tragedy as well with their child. Ended up drowning. So add that to the old kill counter. But then his wife is dealing with, because like she'll be having a conversation with him, and then she just like goes off the rails completely. And at one point, they're at dinner having a nice little meal, and she like whips a knife out and just starts carving into their gorgeous wood table this like hangman.
So let's go back a minute too, because she talks about bringing the twins out for dinner.
Oh yeah,
and they're two little dogs. I laughed my ass off. I'm like, I was not expecting that the first time I saw that, right, Courtney?
Oh my God, no, I literally have this in my notes. I was so excited because I thought for sure it was going to be dolls because of the themes of dolls, like how sometimes people who lose children will do like the Forever Born.
Well, like in that movie, The Boy.
Yes. Yeah. I thought it was going to be like two of those, especially because of how the husband reacted. Like, oh no, not the twins. And then he came out with two chihuahuas in sailor costumes.
Yeah,
the fact that they were like in sailor costumes.
The fact they were in costume
I was so happy.
Oh, me too. Me too.
Isn't it kind of like weird though that like their kid drowned and then they dressed their kids up as sailors, their dogs as sailors?
Yeah.
That seems dark.
A little bit.
You know, she's coping, and the lady in black will never get those dogs. I think she's living her best life. I'm happy for her.
She found a loophole. You're like, can't get these kids.
I think you're right. But the dinner scene was very interesting. And yeah, she started carving with her knife, and that was kind of like, oh, shit.
Yeah, I hope they own that table and weren't renting it.
Well, no, I think I don't think rent to own was a thing in 1889.
Airings wasn't a thing?
No, okay. I don't think so. Victoria's father later tearfully accuses Arthur of seeing that woman.
Yeah, because he's going back out he's going to go back out to the house to do more work.
Right.
And he's in Sam's dope ass, like, is it a Rolls Royce?
Something like that, yeah.
I think it is, because the little angel thingy on the hood. I was like, okay, Sam.
Yeah.
He's like a Kardashian.
I know. So there's a few guys that are blocking the road, and they stop the car and they say, whoa, wait a minute, it's your fault. You know, the girl, referring to the girl who drank the lye, her father, you know, his daughter is now dead because of you, Arthur. And so they're very superstitious. And
Arthur's just like, what did I do?
Yeah, I didn't do anything. I'm just showing up here.
Here.
Yeah, I don't even live here. I don't have nothing to do with what's going on here.
Well, I like how too Sam is like, okay, we'll leave. And so he backs the car up, but then he fucking gasses it right at him.
I know. Oh my God. I was honestly surprised the townspeople didn't just like kill them. Like it just seemed like so in character that one of them would have like pulled out a gun and been like, turn around or we're gonna get you. But
I agree, Courtney. I thought they would have just taken him out right there, but they didn't, and they
just if they were
on their
smart,
way.
They would have.
Well, yeah. Yeah. So anyway, Arthur ends up back at the house, and he finds a letter. Several letters between Alice and her sister Jeanette. And Jeanette demands to see her son Nathaniel, who the Drablows had formally adopted after having Jeanette declared mentally unfit to avoid the shame of Jeanette being an unmarried mother. So
oh God, the horror of an unmarried mother.
I know. Well, back then,
I mean,
that
so
back
crazy.
Then, yeah, now it's nothing. But so so we get into, now we start to really kind of get into who the woman in black is.
Yeah.
And the supernatural element here. And we find out that, Nathaniel drowned in a carriage accident on the marsh, and Jeanette blamed Alice for saving only herself and leaving him, basically.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I mean, that is kind of a shitty move of Alice. You're not going to grab the kid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
All I'm
I
saying is,
guess.
like, if I was the woman in black, I guess I'd be doing the same thing.
Well, Jeanette ends up hanging herself in the nursery, vowing
Ugh.
never to forgive Alice. And Arthur finds that the nursery is now unlocked. And from the window, he watches as a boy crawls out of the mud in the rain.
Yeah.
And outside, he sees all these dead children out in the marshes, and Victoria is among them. And inside, he sees an apparition of a woman hanging herself. So, and that's it. I mean, that's the woman in black right there.
Yeah, that's how she died. So add her to the counter.
And that brings, by the way, our opening kill counter. That is going to be kill number 7.
All right. Is that our first adult?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
No. Mrs. Kipps died in childbirth.
Oh, yeah,
So if we
I forgot.
count that
Okay.
one. So
No,
I
we
mean,
do. We should.
we do count that as a death. As an actual kill, this would be the first adult
Yeah.
because, I mean, it was a death and we will count that. But I would say that, yeah, this is a woman in black, kill number 7, first adult that is
Boom.
killed, hangs
All right.
herself. Yeah. And that was kind of a surprising scene. I wasn't expecting to see that.
No, I wasn't as well. It's a really effective one, too. Everything about that scene is pretty damn creepy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So the next day, Jerome's house catches on fire, and Arthur attempts to save Jerome's daughter. And in doing so, he actually sees the woman in black kind of coaxing the daughter to basically burn herself to death.
Yeah,
And
she
you know,
does.
She does. Yeah, she basically has an oil lamp and she throws it to the floor, and the flames, kick it, and
Consume
she
her.
goes up in flames. So that is kill number 8.
I wasn't expecting it to show it like and linger on her burning body as long
No.
as it did.
Well, and you can say that about a lot of the deaths in this movie, the kids. Normally horror films, I mean, they have avoided, children being
Yeah.
killed. I mean, you don't really see it. You might hear about it, but this one, you're basically seeing a lot of these happening. And this was definitely one of them that was actually my favorite kill.
Yeah.
Just the way they did it and the way it looked. I thought it was my favorite one. But
Yeah, you thought that was awesome, bro.
see, here's the thing with this film. It's hard to pick a favorite kill knowing that it's all kids. But, from a filmmaking standpoint, I would say that was probably my favorite.
I mean, fire is pretty cool. Like,
yeah.
when it I love a fire effect anyway. So no, it'd probably be mine as well. It makes me feel like a piece of shit to say it, but
I know she's a child, but it was so badass. Like, I honestly was like, wow, respect. Like, she literally really took the initiative, and it was really cool.
Yeah, I agree. That's why it was my favorite.
let's give her props.
Yeah.
Gonna go out in a blaze of glory.
Right.
Honestly, yeah, at least do it with style, not just
Right,
like
yeah.
stepping on your doll's heads. Like,
Yeah, that's like they were just disrespectful. This one at least has some style points.
Right. So we go now to Arthur's friend Sam, his wife, the crazy one, kind of, I guess, Elizabeth, who now explains that the woman in black is Jeanette and claims the village children by having them take their own lives in penance for her own son being taken from her. And Arthur realizes that his son, who is coming to this village, is going to be next.
Did you know, just a little thing about his son in this? It's his actual real life godson.
oh,
I read that.
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Like, and the casting was suggested by Daniel himself. It's like, I think it's going to help me, have a father-son relationship with this kid. And yeah, that's why that kid was cast.
That is very cool to know that.
Yeah. I thought so.
Yeah. So they're actually standing outside this crypt when she's telling him about all, about the woman in black and who she really is and all that. What Arthur does in an attempt to basically lift the curse, he gets Sam and they go and find Nathaniel's body in the marsh and they place it in his nursery.
Well, just like
And-
this whole scene though of them getting it out of the marsh
Yeah.
is so wild to me.
Oh my god.
Like it's crazy. Like they use Sam's car, and I get like Daniel Radcliffe. I guess he like ties it off, like ties the rope to the car,
Mhm.
and he like dives into this nasty ass mud and muck and goes down there, somehow finds the carriage, and they connect the two and boom, pull it out. But I'm like, dude, I'm not getting messy like that. Ew.
Right. No, right?
Especially like at night.
Yeah.
Like, why
Oh
would
my
you go
God.
at night?
Yeah.
Like-
oh my God.
Like I can't imagine, like if I can't see the bottom of a body of water, guess who's not going in it?
Yeah.
It's me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, now we're getting back to this water thing. And I
I
sure as
know.
hell
Yeah,
am
Brian,
not
would
going to be
you
going
would have you jumped in?
No,
Oh,
no,
come
no.
on.
Sorry.
It would have been fun.
No, I'll come up with some excuse. I am not getting into the water. I will get into a swimming pool, but you will not see me in the ocean, a lake, a river, any of that stuff. I've seen too many horror films. Friday the 13th being my favorite horror franchise. Will not get into a lake whatsoever.
I don't think Jason's down there.
Well, I don't care. I'm not doing it. Not doing it.
But yeah, no, this whole scene I think is just really cool. I don't know why. Just him diving in there like that. I was just like, boom, that's dope as hell.
Right. They bury Nathaniel with Jeanette, though her voice kind of echoes that she will never forgive, all of these wrongs that she has had to suffer. And so Arthur thinks everything's hunky-dory. We're all good now. So he goes to Joseph and meets his nanny at the station, and he sees the woman in black. She's there at the train station, and she lures Joseph, who is Arthur's son, onto the tracks. Very young kid,
Yeah.
not very old. And there's a train that's coming down the tracks now, and he attempts to get out there and save him. But both he and Joseph are killed by the train. And Sam is watching this, and then he sees the ghosts of all the village children who were killed. And they're right there with the woman in black. So
Yeah, like thankfully we didn't see this kill because that would have been messy.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Like, yeah, it does show like Sam like looking at the scene. You're like, ugh,
yeah.
that's not gonna be pretty.
I was surprised by how this ended. I did not expect this, for it to end this way. But,
Yeah.
it kind of makes sense. So, and then Sam sees, all the ghosts and everything else. And then that's that.
But then Arthur, in a somewhat happy ending,
Well,
he sees his wife, and like his son is kind of cute. He's like, "Daddy, who's that lady?" And he's like, "Well, son, that's your mother." And then they go, and they're all together.
Yeah,
so
they are.
in a way, it's kind of happily ever after.
I just could not believe the full scene we have of like the slow motion silence of Daniel Radcliffe holding his toddler's hand, and he's on the side of the train tracks with no guard, to fully letting go of his hand, and he's just in such deep conversation that he doesn't even think to look after everything they've been through.
Right?
Like, how would you even let your son a hair away from your person?
Oh, I
I'm
know.
It
glad.
was just so,
I'm glad
like,
you brought that
crazy
up
to me.
because I
Yes.
didn't want to shame Daniel Radcliffe, but he kind of deserves to be shamed here. He's a bad dad.
Yeah, honestly, incredibly poor choices altogether.
'Cause, like,
Yeah.
I was
They
in a
had
line.
phones. Why? Like, they shouldn't have come from London in the first place after the first 3 children died.
I mean, Harry Potter wouldn't have let that happen,
Absolutely
right?
not. Absolutely not. But like I was in a line with my kid today, and he was holding my hand, and like as soon as he drops my hand, I know he does it. Like you can feel it, Daniel. Come on, what's your excuse?
Yeah, leash your kid immediately after seeing the woman in black. Take the belt from your pants and leash your child.
This movie made a ton of money. It was on a budget of about $15-16 million. Made $130 million at the box office.
Nice.
So it
Wow.
was hugely successful.
Yeah, and there's something else kind of cool that ties to Harry Potter. So Adrian Rawlings, who played James Potter in the Harry Potter franchise,
Mhm.
who if you've never seen Harry Potter, that's Harry's dad
Right.
in the movie. But that actor was actually played the same character as Daniel in the 1989 version of the movie.
Oh, really?
So kind of just a weird little,
wow.
yeah, kind of like a weird little thing there, which is I thought was kind of cool.
That is very cool.
That's so cool.
Wow. Okay.
And like another thing that I thought was cool is the so like all this house in this movie is full of these insane trinkets and like little weird toys and like shit like that. And
Yes.
it all came from one guy's personal collection that he decided to just let him use for the movie. Yeah, so it's all that shit is actually in one guy's house. So
oh my gosh.
his house is probably just as
Oh
creepy
my gosh.
as this one.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would think.
I had a note. I had a note that at the end was like, you know, after they put the son in the grave, and I said, why Daniel Radcliffe thought that turning on every toy and music box in the house would help with the spirits passing is beyond me. I honestly feel like that's why she came back to steal his son, because she's like, you literally put me to rest and then you like turned on every toy in the house. You like are so annoying. Like, what are you doing?
That's actually, I think that you nailed it right there. That's got to be why she took his kid.
Yeah.
Because like, there's nothing more annoying than children's toys. Like, oh my God.
Oh my God.
Especially at nighttime.
God, that's funny. Have either one of you read this book?
No. I've
No.
wanted to, but I have not.
Yeah, it's also actually like a live theater production. It's been a lot more popular, especially like in Europe. They're doing The Woman in Black. And they did a version. Yeah, they did a stage version at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival a few years ago that was like apparently so frightening that people were like passing out. Like they were like,
gosh.
they were like, it was such an inventive new, you know, form of theater to have this like fun like horror theater, because you know you're seeing right in front of you the character of Arthur fixing with papers, and then this ghost woman on the stairs just so slowly coming down the stairs bit by bit. And as a live audience member, you're just like, you know, there were people like yelling to him like, turn around, help, look, and like you have to stay in it, you know. So I just think that's so fun. I would love to do something like that.
Yeah. Fun story about this, you know, a friend of mine sadly passed away 3 or 4 years ago from cancer. He was an amazing actor, local actor and director. He was actually Tom Hanks's stagecraft instructor in college down in Northern California back in the day. And he moved up here with his wife, and he directed a production of The Woman in Black at a local theater here in Southern Oregon. And watching the stage production, like you said, it was really amazing to see. And he had such an incredible cast. I think there's only like 2 or 3 people, 4 people maybe in the cast. It's a very small cast, but it was so amazing to see it come alive, and the sound design and the video design and everything they did with it. It was an amazing, amazing production of this.
Damn, like I kind of want
That's so cool.
I want more stage horror stuff like that. What a cool medium to utilize horror in. Because I've never seen anything close to horror on the stage, so like I don't even know how it would work, but like I want to see it.
There have been a few. I mean, they did Heathers as a stage production. Carrie, Stephen King's Carrie is a stage production, a play. I think it's a musical. It's kind of a weird musical, but I think Heathers is actually a musical.
That one would work as a musical.
It would.
Though. Like that one's very dark comedy kind of.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they did Macker's Macbeth, you know. They did that on Broadway with Patrick Stewart, I think like 15 years ago, and it was literally like in an insane asylum hospital, and it was horrifying apparently.
Oh my God. That is pretty incredible.
I guess, I mean, technically, I get like Phantom of the Opera is somewhat horror, so I guess it has been a thing.
No, it's so camp. It is not horror at all.
Okay. No, it's really not, Michael.
Well, I just saw the Gerard Butler.
So here's the deal. We now know who is not theater in this podcast right now. Yeah.
Is it me?
It's gonna be Michael. Oh my God.
Oh no, they know.
Last summer, also, there was another play on Broadway, and I was so mad I didn't get to see it. I was literally waiting for a paycheck, and it closed a week early, and I was so sad. I'm mad I can't remember the title either, but it was like I'll find the name for you. I'll send it for
Was
you
it
guys.
Cats?
But it was like gripping, horrifying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well-
that was it.
So I love I know, here's the thing. I love the musical Cats. The movie just creeped me
You
out.
shut your mouth,
Oh my
Brian.
God.
That was horrifying.
It was pretty
It was
horrifying.
truly
We
horrifying.
don't speak about
Yeah.
Rum Tum Tugger that way.
God.
You know who played him? Jason Derulo.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying the movie was not great. The stage production, it's a little out there, and it's, some people don't like it. Some people love it. I really like it. I've been involved in the production of it. The movie definitely, that is a horror film in itself, I think.
Yeah, I'll come on next time for Cats.
God. Too funny. So that is The Woman in Black from 2012, starring Daniel Radcliffe. Did very well at the box office, very atmospheric, and I give it, an A.
Yeah, I'm gonna do let's do 4 stars.
Okay.
I'll do that.
All right. What about you, Courtney? What do you say?
Honestly, I feel like I'm like a little torn between 2, but I will say I'll give it like a B plus just for vibes alone, because I could just have this playing on a fall day and it's the perfect vibes that I want.
Yeah.
I do wish it was like a little scarier, but it's so good for vibes.
I think so the stuff that actually scares me is so random. But this one, just how there's so much darkness in the house, like it'll show a room and like every corner is dark. And to me, like that legitimately creeps me out because it's just,
Right.
Because not only she's wearing black, so you're like, I know she's there. Like you can just feel her presence in every little shot within that house, which I think whenever you can do that, you can make a presence felt on screen is just, I think it's well done. And this one, for whatever reason, this one legitimately creeps me out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was really successful. I feel like if I actually didn't see ghosts in real life all the time, this would have been really scary for me.
So that was actually something I was curious about. Have you ever, obviously you've never probably encountered anything like The Woman in Black, but have you ever come into contact with something a little bit angry, kind of like this?
Yes, I have. I've definitely come across and come face to face with spirits that were angry or didn't want me to engage or get involved with them, especially in New York. I'm sure you can believe just with the way people are here. Imagine how they are when they're dead,
Fair. Yeah, fair.
Yeah. One of your early episodes that you did on Jaunty Haunts, you were talking with Sierra about, you did like a West Coast haunt thing and then an East Coast haunt thing. And, you brought up something that I really had not thought about. And, the East Coast, you're going to have a lot more haunted places
It's
because, than you will on the West Coast. And I thought that was such an interesting thing. Have you been able to go out to different places since you've been in New York?
Yeah. Obviously, up until the podcast, I've really purposely tried to avoid places that are going to be energetically kind of overwhelming. But now that I'm, in the world of content creation, I'm trying to figure out how to go about it more safely. But I think I have talked about it on a couple of the episodes, going up to Salem was really interesting
Oh, wow.
because I was
I bet.
fully... Yeah, you know how old it is and everything, and I was fully expecting, preparing myself to be okay, this is going to be horrible and haunted and yucky, and it just wasn't the case at all because there are so many, practitioners and witches there still who I think are constantly helping spirit pass on. So it actually felt so light, even with the history and the age of the place. You can feel the history of the land energetically, oh, this is a little weird, but there's not a bunch of passed on humans asking for help. It was a really lighter, which was surprising.
Wow, yeah.
But yeah, I've also talked about how a lot of New Jersey feels really haunted, and I don't know why. A lot of that, and especially Sleepy Hollow, as I mentioned, we found this past Halloween. This was my third Halloween, going up, and we usually go on Halloween day and just walk around and be in the nature and everything.
Geez.
And we found yeah, we found a new hike and it was really beautiful. And there's, I think, video of it on my Instagram page if anyone wants to see, because it was like a movie of just like orange leaves falling and it was just gorgeous. But I got to a certain point in the hike and I just felt, yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, it was like multiple people, specifically like indigenous spirits, like, you don't need to walk any further, like to turn around.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was like, oh, all right, I'm going to turn around. But, you don't really get that on the West Coast as much, at least where I've lived, whereas here there's been so much trauma and like colonialism that it's just like very harsh here,
Mm-hmm.
That's like, just like, so as someone who doesn't have any, like, I don't see anything, I don't feel anything. I've never had an experience like that. It just sounds so, like, and I think that's a good thing because I don't think I can mentally handle it. Like, if I saw a ghost, I think that's a wrap on old Michael. I can't handle it. Like, so like it's just like hearing, like, whenever you just like talk about it so casually, I'm like, I don't know how you do it. That's,
I've had experiences, and there was one, and we talked about it on your podcast about the church story about running into whatever that was that I ran into. So go back and listen to Jaunty Haunts on that one if you want to hear that. But I've had other things too. I remember, when my grandmother passed away several years ago, she kissed me goodbye. I was laying in bed and I felt that, and she was there with me. And so it was pretty intense. And there have been some other things too. My dad passed away almost 2 years ago now, and he said goodbye to me too. And it was at night. And it's when something like that happens, it's pretty incredible. It's not scary to me anyway. It's just, it is what it is. And it was pretty incredible. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's so nice when you can have really positive and healing and moving experiences with spirit, I wish majority of what I experienced was that, but I'd say that's like 30% of what I experience. Yeah, I will say just for funsies, because we're in, the horror genre, and Michael kind of asked, but one of the things I would see a lot in one of the specific houses I grew up in, I called them the shadow figures, and they really were like woman in black energy, except it wasn't like vengeful. It wasn't like vengeful, murderous energy. It was just like they wanted to cause harm upon me and my family.
Oh,
and
man.
Those were the things I would see, and I'd tell my mom, like the guys with red eyes, the guys with the cloaks, they're coming. And
oh my God.
Yeah, it was like really weird, otherworldly. And now as an adult talking about that, being like, was that my imagination? My mom's like, I think that was just aliens. And it's so weird to try to like diagnose it. And my therapist as well, being like, was I having trauma? And she's like, no, you're just like a medium. And I'm like, oh, okay. So anyway, a lot of it is indescribable. But anyway, sorry, that was kind of a tangent. But I'm so glad there
that's
are
great.
good.
I mean, that's
good.
very fascinating stuff.
No, it is. It's incredible stuff. I'm like, as just the opposite of it, where I just have nothing. I just can't even wrap my head around, like, you guys, like, and I'm like, I just think certain people aren't built for it, and I know that's me for a fact. I just know.
Well, I mean, I'm not as in tuned as Courtney is. I mean, there are some things that I've experienced in my life, certainly, that I'm aware of. But it's interesting when it happens to you.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, and you never know. I mean, for your listeners, like, if you're interested, please check out the episode coming out next Monday, because I talked to my boyfriend, Jordan, who's very similar to you, Michael. He's very rational, he's very grounded, and he's very caring and supportive of me, but he doesn't experience this kind of stuff. And so he shares the one story where in his life where he did see something, and he thought it was his roommate, turned out to be a very famous haunting of the dorm building that they lived in. And there were reports about it that explained, like, down to when it happened, who it was, and he realized that's who he saw. And, it was unmistakable. So it's like, you just never know. You just never know.
Let me ask you about Jordan. Does he enjoy horror films as well, or do you kind of have to just make him watch these? I think you were talking about this on your podcast a while back.
Won't even watch with me. Like, literally. Like, yeah,
I thought
exactly.
that was him.
Yeah. Yeah,
Damn.
we've been together for over 10 years.
Yeah.
And I think it was truly like pulling teeth to get him to watch Haunting of Hill House. And I was like, you have to watch it. I know it's a series. I know it's a lot of scare, but I promise, the story and the writing is so good. And so he did. He watched it with me, and it was scary. We'd like watch some Disney after or something, but overall,
You had to have
he
that
was
palate
happy he
cleaner,
watched
like
it.
cleanser, like just
Yep.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. All right. Well, that is it. So coming up next, we're going to get into our scare preview. Michael and I are going to talk about a film that we both are excited about. Well, actually, we have our own films that are coming out that we are excited about. That is coming up next on the Opening Kill podcast. We will be right back.
Welcome to Jaunty Haunts, the podcast about all things supernatural. After 30 years of keeping a secret, I'm finally ready to share with the world that I see ghosts. This podcast is all about getting spooky and connecting with others who might also sense, see, or feel things beyond the ordinary. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, let's connect, share, and maybe feel a little less crazy together.
You can listen to and binge Jaunty Haunts right now on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you podcast. Stay spooky, ghoul friends.
So before we get into the scare preview, let's do our final tally on the kill
Yeah, we got
counter
busy
here.
talking about ghosts. We
I
forgot
know,
to
that's
do it.
great. That's great. The opening kill counter. And for Woman in Black, we ended up with 12.
12 kills and a incredible opening kills. That's a solid flick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, there are other sources out there who will give you way more kills than that. They are counting all of the children, and they're also combining the prequel, Angel of Death, with this too, and we're not doing that.
No,
so,
that's too much work.
Yeah, it's too much work. And we usually just count the kills that we see in the film or that are referenced. And so our final kill count was 12, which not too shabby.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right. It is the scare preview. New movies coming out this year. And what do you have, Michael?
So I have a little flip film coming out February 14th, so really, really soon. It's called The Gorge, and it stars Anya Taylor-Joy and Miles Teller. And it's directed by Scott Derrickson, who has a vast horror catalog in his back pocket. He's done Sinister, The Black Phone, and a couple others. But this one, it's looks weird. I don't know. It's so weird. I'm very intrigued. So like, Anya Taylor-Joy and Miles Teller are two highly trained operatives on opposite ends of this gorge, and they're in these two towers, and they have to guard what's ever in this gorge. And it's like this ancient evil that they like have to contain. And I'm just really intrigued by it. So I'm excited to see that one.
Oh, nice.
It looks like a fun little adventure, a little horror. Looks like a fun little popcorn flick.
So I am stoked about the next Fear Street movie.
Yeah.
If you did not see the original trilogy on Netflix, you need to watch this. I was on a Disneyland trip about 3 years ago, meeting some friends down there from all over the country. We were all getting together, and I got there a day early, had nothing to do, so I started streaming and binging the first three Fear Street movies on Netflix. Just fell in love with these films, and now Fear Street Prom Queen is scheduled for release this year. No exact date. They're just saying it's this year.
Nice.
Directed by Matt Palmer, stars India Fowler, Susanna Sun, and they just announced recently that Ariana Greenblatt is joining the cast as well. Lily Taylor is in this. I love Lily Taylor. She is amazing.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a great film. It'll be on Netflix. It is going to be coming up this year, 2025. No specific release date, but we are stoked to have that coming in.
Yeah,
So,
that's a great...
yeah.
That was a fun trilogy because it's all connected. It's all just one overarching story.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is going to be fun. So some good movies. Again, we talk about this. 2024 was such a great year for horror films.
Yeah.
I think 2025 is going to be just as good. I really do.
I hope so.
There's some good stuff coming out. So we're excited about that. And that's kind of where we are going to end things here. Courtney, thank you so much for being part of our podcast.
Oh my gosh. Thank you guys so much. Such a fun movie. I love your show, and thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, we want to have you back too. And we want to have your friend Sierra come back with you. I know that, we had talked about that this time and she couldn't make it happen this time, but we would love to have her come on and join us as well. And Michael and I would love to be on your podcast again. So if you have a guest that drops out or you get desperate, you just need some warm bodies, please think of us because we would love to do it.
Yeah, I'm here to share all my non-stories.
No one's dropping. You guys have primary booking whenever you want, okay?
Did you hear that? Primary booking.
Is this what a VIP feels like?
Yeah, we are VIPs. Love that. Absolutely love that. So, Courtney from Jaunty Haunts, you drop new episodes every Monday.
Yes.
And so your next one obviously is going to be coming up here February the 10th.
February 10th, actually, oh my gosh, is going to be my season 1 finale.
Oh.
I have done, so this will be episode 18 officially of season 1.
Wow.
And I'm so excited. It's going to be a lot of listener interaction to basically get an idea of what you guys want to hear and to get stories from you, as well as a few really gripping personal tales of my own, 3 of which take place on the Southern Oregon University campus. So please tune in for that, because it was actually involving a ghost girl photo that I helped people capture, because they were asking around, like, do you feel anything? And I said, take a picture of that cabinet right there. And they did. And it was clear as day, a little girl standing next to the cabinet.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So there's
my proof.
There's another podcast out there that deals with haunted places. I think it's called Haunted Places. It's no longer in production. They did an episode on Lithia Park, and I was stunned. I didn't know that Lithia Park had any type of haunting or paranormal activity, but I think Michael and I might go out there and check that out one of these days.
Oh, goody.
I'm gonna drag Michael with me, Courtney.
I can't wait.
Oh, well, thank you again so much. We had so much fun having you on the podcast.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to talk to you guys soon, and keep an eye out for the Lady in Black tonight.
Yeah.
Jeez, what a way to leave us. Yeah, that woman in black is floating around there somewhere. All right, so coming up next week on Opening Kill, we've got some fun stuff for you, because we're going to be butting up against Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
So why not do the film Valentine from 2001?
It's so much fun.
It really is.
If it's a slasher set around a holiday, Michael's excited.
I think you are. Yeah, and I am too. So I think that's incredible. So Valentine is going to be our Opening Kill feature film next Thursday. Make sure you subscribe to us, like us, follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Tell all your friends about us.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. Spread the word.
Yeah, and if you have a film that you want us to feature, you can email us at
openingkillpod@gmail.com.
And again, our special thanks to Courtney from the Jaunty Haunts podcast. Make sure you catch new episodes of Jaunty Haunts every Monday, wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. And Michael and I will talk to you next Thursday with a brand new episode featuring the movie Valentine, just in time for Valentine's Day. Have a great week.
The Opening Kill podcast is hosted by Michael Duran and Brian O'Connor. It's produced by Mystic Cloud Productions. Thanks for listening. And don't forget to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you listen to your favorite podcasts. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram too. Join us next Thursday for a brand new episode.